I joined them a couple of years ago, and they've been really into trying to get on-air broadcast meteorologists more involved. But then especially when I joined the station science committee in January, and Mike Nelson did the same talk in April in Colorado. And so I modeled it basically after what Mike did.
Yeah, I saw him give the same talk down in Kansas City in the broadcast meteorologist conference. 2017.
Okay, yeah, could very well have been the same one.
So,
okay. Yeah, so when Mike did that talk, it was like, all right, now I have the framework to work with. And his was successful, and so I said, all right, let's see what we can do here.
We are broadcasting. Live stream is on. Those of you who actually are in front of the camera more often, I don't know if you want to check the how it looks in the image there.
Okay. Yep.
One thing I forgot to bring was a slide advancer.
Oh, yeah.
Just do it.
You could do it that way. I mean,
Yeah.
the person that's presenting could just advance their own, I guess.
Yeah.
That'd work fine.
You're in the AMS committee for station scientists?
Station Science Committee, yeah,
Okay.
with the AMS. Yeah, I was just telling Todd, that's how the whole thing came about for me was when Mike Nelson gave the same presentation back in April.
Tim's going to start us off. You're going to start us off, and then Tim's going to.
Yeah, I'll just do a quick introduction.
Sure.
Guys,
Hey, Bob, John.
Nice to meet you.
nice to see you again.
Thank you for setting this all up. This is fantastic.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
All right.
Yeah, excellent. Glad you could come.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Hello.
I'm Cassidy.
Oh, hi, Cassie.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
With the parking, I wouldn't be surprised if people straggle in a little bit late. Sure. I know I ended up on the other side of Regent Street.
Beautiful colors that are being sent to us daily by the folks over at.
Excellent, excellent. We're good in there?
Good. Yeah, Sean has a video which didn't work when he screwed his screen through Zoom, so he's going to share slides. When we get to the video, I'm going to switch out. Okay. We can hear our audio. So
Okay, so he'll voice over?
yeah, so he's going to share slides. So it's like this slide.
Oh, it did not.
The video played, but the audio didn't go through from his computer on ours. So just for that one.
Okay.
I think
As long as you know
we
what it
tested it
is.
on Friday, so works,
Okay.
it works.
Excellent.
Check real quick to get on today.
Yeah.
Hey, coffee. Nice to meet you.
It's like,
I'll leave this tape right over here.
Okay. Oh, yeah, thanks.
Okay, yeah.
You'll be sure that.
It's nice to meet you.
I just don't know who I break with this morning.
What is the operation? What challenges do you have?
When I was here back.
Get in with high expectations.
Yeah. Winter and every single winter. Even when you're so cool.
They're a different age.
What is that?
Yeah, we have time, so.
Getting my
sorry, that was like, no, it's like, I knew it was coming, but it was like.
Milwaukee will have like a series of meetings.
Yeah.
It's nice that they're.
A rough weekend.
This is the first effort.
No, I have to.
It does. So I think yeah, for rocks, so everything from rocks,
Yeah, we got good
I can see all of it.
Yeah.
So I hope I didn't mean that. No. Yeah, just throw that.
I tried to go to all of our spots.
That's sad.
No, I'm not.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, just. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, I'm like, I get one time focus on this. There you go. I know, honestly, it's just like, I know. Yeah, I mean, at least it's interesting. I hate all that stuff.
Yeah, I think we have one that's like on. I don't think I have anything else. You're on the last
Yeah, I'll give a little.
Yeah. Second.
Are you on?
Yeah, we kind of give, I most of our impacts, they have like the big picture, like, we know about your basics of coursing.
Me too. Thank you. Glad you made it.
Yeah, sorry,
Had some things
uh,
going on.
So do you want to use, I think we use.
Yeah, I actually can't even go in. That's usually what you
Yeah.
but you got a map too, so that should be.
Yeah.
And I have I moved. That's probably my shirt.
Well, let's see.
I think I included that. I only have the one. So I
The only thing is
could.
because we are doing live streaming and.
Yeah. So, students?
Yeah. I'm an AO.
That one. And that's supposed to be.
What year are you?
I'm on a sophomore. Yeah.
For programs.
Not yet.
I think it doesn't know what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And you are.
Yeah, I'm a sophomore as well.
What if I can quickly send it to you?
Next year will be.
Sure.
Just take a minute. I just sent it to your
Yeah, the
regular
link's
email.
on this one, yeah, wvball.mpeg. Yeah, so the link file is the same.
Oh, okay.
Have the file.
I have it on this machine. I
You're. I see, yeah. I see like everybody. Some. I know. So it kind of sits there like. Yeah.
Yeah, you see two, we're the three of us back there.
Oh, I like when drop me off.
Oh, that was.
I wouldn't walk, but yeah, it's that close, yeah.
Yeah, those ones.
That's why I don't want stuff.
Okay. How many people? Yeah. There's like, I'm gonna go over Yeah, okay.
You just email it to me?
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
It doesn't work. It's okay. I can.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Okay.
Oh, really? There's some, I don't know why they put a J in my email. It's like the full name. Well, I just wanted it. Everybody else.
Don't you Anyway,
It's more substantial.
do you have? Yeah.
So it's like halfway between this and Milwaukee. It was kind of a political chess match. We worked with Austin. And cross county ones, so I think they called
I know. Yeah.
to that, it brings it and then that would give us comfort with the Michigan. So instead they call them because they're been on since so
Yeah, I did a couple of. Alright, put in the new videos.
And they have single rooms. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Does it work now?
Yeah. Just
Great.
Yeah.
Oh, there, we neat things around, but important regulations says do not apply to leather, suede, velvet, corduroy, silk, vinyl, or plastic.
Yeah.
Do that, warning.
Yeah, that's all right.
It's outside the but if that is an issue or you're concerned, do not worry about wearing any tech.
I'll just keep hitting it. I'll know that's gonna be the case. So, thank you.
How are you?
Test the live.
It's all.
Free blocks.
Yeah, so my.
Yeah, we're,
Yeah, there's something that feels.
Yeah, it must be. I don't know if it's ever been Chris. I have not.
Hey, Chris?
Nice to meet you. Thank you very much. I'm enjoying it.
Probably Sparky football weekend.
That's what they had. He said the same thing. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sure.
We can mic up if you want. Get this set up. It's up to you. In general, this room, with this site, you can get by. I think it's bigger. It does get hard to hear from that. Oh, for the video, yeah, the mic is on the camera itself, so this isn't tight. So, yeah, I agree.
By the way, congratulations on the.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Some luck for you. They play a little listless.
Not like standing here.
It'll be on the other side, right there. And you're kind of in a shadow there.
So basically.
So, why don't you come up front once?
It's still managing.
Yeah.
Just stand. It'll be on this side.
Over here.
Yeah, stand there.
They'll be back. They're gonna be asleep next year. And they got handles on the option, right? So that's good for them.
Yeah. So I think they'll have to be closer, otherwise they're in the shadow.
Right here.
Yeah, about there would be probably be best.
Sounds good. You can just advance slides here.
And I'm wondering if we should zoom, once the speaker starts, whether we should zoom in more on
I
that.
can try to do that, to focus on the slide itself.
Yeah,
Sure.
What do you think? Okay.
Let's try.
Okay. Okay, folks, we'll get things started. Good afternoon, and welcome to this presentation today. I'm Bob Lee Meijer, Chief Meteorologist for WKOW TV in Madison. I've been there for about 40 years now. The way this came about was I joined the Station Science Committee with the American Meteorological Society in January. And one of the goals of the Station Scientists Committee is to advance science through broadcast meteorology, to have broadcast meteorologists use science as much as possible in their presentations. And of course, climate science is a very important science that we should be educating our viewers about. So that's how it came about. There was a similar presentation like this done by Mike Nelson in Denver in Colorado. So it's been modeled after that. So we're going to get things started with Tim Hallbach from the National Weather Service. And with Tim, we'll have a series of speakers coming up. Tim?
Well, normally we don't start with the most boringest talk, but we're gonna start that way. Right up there?
Yeah, for the live stream.
Do I get to use this?
You did.
Yeah, use that hand.
And then just advanced slides.
It's like we're in school again.
Yeah.
Where do you want me to sit?
Right there.
Right here? All right, are you gonna do next slide?
What's that? You can control the slides.
All right. It works. All right, well, yes, we have a lot of great talks that are coming up today. So like I said, mine's probably the most boringest. We're gonna talk about some resources. It's kind of geared towards the TV meteorologists to give them some background into where they can find climate data from us. And then I'm really interested to hear some of the other talks that are gonna happen here with climate change. Something that we don't learn enough about, I don't think, in the Weather Service, and some of the other things when we're focused on, you know, the next 7 days and what that forecast is going to be like. So feel free to, if you have any questions, to ask them while we're talking here. Just a little bit of background in case you don't know what the National Weather Service is. We're part of the federal government in NOAA, the Department of Commerce. Our office covers 20 counties in southeastern Wisconsin. We also have Mr. Todd Shea, who is my counterpart at the La Crosse office. Jeff Last he texted me, he's en route from the Green Bay office. I guess couldn't find parking, much like myself. But we cover little chunks of the United States, and there's 5 offices in Wisconsin that cover different parts of it. We cover southeastern, south central Wisconsin. La Crosse has western Wisconsin, Green Bay, northeast, and then the Twin Cities office and the Duluth office cover the northwestern part of the office. And we're all responsible for forecast information, warnings, climate data from those areas, and maintaining those networks to make sure that we are getting data and know what's happening locally for our areas. The best spot to go to find our climate data, and I'm probably standing right in the line of some of the people here, but the little drop down spot there, climate and past data. If you just put your mouse over that, you'll get a little drop down that comes with it. And the top link takes you to the drought portal. So that's the Drought Mitigation Center, the weekly update on what the drought status is. And then NOAA Climate Service, so that's just climate.gov. It's actually a really nice website that has a lot of information about climate and understanding some of the latest information that's coming out from some of the NOAA scientists that are researching climate. And then event summaries, every office does, after a big event has happened, we do a little write-up on what happened. Typically there's radar, pictures, different data that comes with the event that's happened, typically our bigger ones, and we'll store it on there. But for most of the information, you're gonna want that last little tab there for local. That's where you're gonna find all the best information. And a lot of numbers up on the screen here, but the first thing that you'll see is the observed weather. So the first tab there will have a number of different things, the daily climate reports for Milwaukee, Madison. Every office will be set up to just cover their local area. So La Crosse would be La Crosse, Rochester, Twin Cities would have Eau Claire in there. But you can get basically the daily printout of what the data was for this day. And then if you click on the preliminary monthly climate data, you'll get a listing of what the whole month has been. And you can go back through time and see what those official data were at the airports there. The next 2 tabs over to climate prediction. And one thing that's of use there is this downscaling of what the outlooks are for the different locations in the United States. So, you know, the big United States Kona scale, winter outlooks. There's also, if you click on it, you'll get the percentages for the different climate stations for what the percentage chance is for above normal
temperature-wise, near normal or below normal. So those different terciles there. So you can see, I should have grabbed Madison for this, but for Milwaukee, for the winter, there's a 42% chance of an above normal temperature for winter, to 24% for below normal, and then 34% for near normal temperatures. So you can get specific data if you want for like your own location there. And then probably the most useful thing, now data. This is a great tool that all the climate data for all our different stations is basically in a searchable format, so that if you want to see what's been the warmest day in Milwaukee or Madison's history on this date, you can go there and search for some of that. There's different things like first and last dates for certain temperature thresholds. All this information is put out there. It used to be a little bit more restricted to only like a year or two, but now it's been pretty much well opened up. So if you're ever trying to do some searches, go with that first, and you kind of pull some information from that. Otherwise, if you have questions, NWS chat, obviously you can quickly send us a message and say, hey, I've been trying to look for this. Can you give me some idea on when this certain threshold was hit? And we have an internal search engine called XMASIS, which is basically a search for all the threaded data sets for Madison, all the big climate spots. So this is the tool that we use to research the questions that you might have that you want to put out like little tidbit out with the news. Other things, NCEI used to be NCDC. I think if you still go to the weather portion of NCEI, you'll get it. Hey guys, you'll get a weather portion of it that actually takes you to ncdc.noaa.gov, I think. But all the official data gets housed here. Storm data, so we do write-ups about every severe weather event that occurs in our area. Tornadoes, they all get documented and put into this database. Courts, if you're a consulting meteorologist, you need to go here to get official information so that when you testify, you have it from this spot. So that's where all the data is housed. When I try to pull up radar data, archive radar data, it's on here as well. I get it all for free since I work for the government. I'm not sure, some of it I think has to be paid for, but that is a resource that's out there. Climate Prediction Center. So this is a unit that's out in, it was Camp Springs, Maryland, but now it's College Park, Maryland, with the weather building there. They do all the climate forecasts. Probably some of the most popular ones are now the 6 to 10 day and the 8 to 14 day outlooks to get trends for what the forecast is looking like for general trends on is it going to be above normal or below normal. 1 to 3 month outlooks, ENSO discussion, where we at. So cpc.ncep.noaa.gov. And again, those downscaling plots are there as well. You can just kind of move around your little plot, the little green dot there, and that'll get you what your local area is for the different terciles there. So near normal is generally, I think for Madison, they take the average temperature and then it's about like a 1.5 degree spread on both sides of it. That's considered to be near normal. And then beyond that would be above or below normal. Precipitation, this is the 6 to 10 day outlook that I just grabbed this past week. High chance that we're going to be above normal for our precip. They also do some latest discussions on the climate predictions or for ENSO, where we're at. We're going into a week El Nino, so how's a lot of the forecast for this winter's outlook is based upon that setup that we're going to be in a week El Nino pattern. So they have a little bit more of a discussion on what does that mean? Well, how much are they using that? Or are they using a different oscillation to try to come up with their forecasts? That's all linked from the ENSO page, and then some of the other diagnostics that they have on there. There's a real climate campaign that they are go to for any data that we tool. A lot of people like this where we want to know how far above normal are we for precipitation for this month. We can easily pull that out, just make a map that's showing how we were from August through the end of October. So about 12 inches or more in southwestern Wisconsin above normal for the fall months. So this is what we come up with some see with our climate outlook, going back in time to see where we're at. I think this is my last slide. Just to, really, I use this to try to learn a little more. Global climate through what the global temperature statistics that have been used for. I'm on this page. I like a little tab here for tracking climate or teaching climate. And if you go over to the right-hand side there, there's all these different types of modules and different things that you can learn about climate change and just climate in general as well. That can be very useful. This is some of the resources that I like to use. I'm trying to learn a little bit more about climate science. I believe that's it. Does anybody have any questions about anything climate related to weather service? And I cannot the weather today.
The Midwest, is there any chance you heard anything that it's going to be a EMC format to make it easier to...
I think it's something that, yes, the question is Midwest Climate Center.
I mean, anything. The products from the climate prediction and the research that have is there any that something that will be available?
Yeah, for anybody who's streaming this, most regional climate centers can file that data. I'm not aware whether or not they have that. If we have contacts, we can certainly reach out and find out if that's something that they have somewhere or have out there. So I'll link and I'll have my contact. So.
I'm just curious, how much does seasonal forecasting information from the Climate Prediction Center like the UW-AOS, how does that store day-to-day forecasting discussions what you put together?
Well, day-to-day, I think, weather and climate are two different beasts. So a lot of we're stuck more in the weather part of it, where we just have to look at what's happening now and what's coming in the next 7 days. We get a lot of questions from what long-term trends looking like. We already get people asking, well, we had all this rain from this past year, what are the that be flooding in the next year? So there's those questions, but the one that's coming for us to what we're seeing right in front of us with the current weather. Gary,
when you're looking at your we in terms of purpose, did you agree and a half? I thought of using like about 30 years.
I think that's what they base off of is 30-year rules. They have the averages from that, and I think temperature styles, but it's not a degree and a half. So it is, yeah.
What about for the seasonal outlooks to have easily accessible verification stats?
I'm aware of that, so that's the thing that the weather services, it's kind of hard to find. Well, we have way that, but I think the UW-AOS page has a good resource for being able to kind of like the ones that we've done in the event. Otherwise, they lost on. So NWS is our way to communicate with partners. It's our best way to communicate with, particularly when there's weather or if there's a question they have with it. public is not allowed access to it. We have some academia on there as well. For media and some of our governors like emergency managers, DOT, report ups, people that can answer there. With the public can contact us on if they need to.
In Milwaukee, of course, do you guys have board lately for the forecast?
So a lot of the databases over time have moved around. So even if the report has been
how many of you are in US or in New York? Build it. How many of your some former people? So yeah, we can just go around across something here. Okay, so I guess I'll put this on. Then here place that food long and where it feels like it's anything most of the United States, but that's great for you who live here, love it. And two of them are homesick today, so I'm gonna just kind of talk. We've done with quizzes. I think this class a lot, so kind of fun to be able to an audience that maybe hasn't been in a class for a while. Students who have too many thoughts who has too much to it. So that's problem. So my looks at my city landscape interacts with climate. We study how plants, lakes, wetlands, ecosystems influence the atmosphere in terms of the climate cycle, the surface energy. Kind of public outreach, and it's always interesting to see where the public is engaged on questions of global warming, climate change, where the things they care a lot about, and it's different than maybe what all of you are expecting. For example, the study by George Mason University and Yale, where it is kind of surveying people's attitudes about climate change, and they've done this survey several times. There's pretty much stability in this idea of what they call the sixth America. Right, the Americans, and we a lot of dismissive side of discussions about climate change, of how policy questions, and the big difference is that actually, if you look at where a lot of folks are, there are a large fraction of folks who are concerned about climate change, even if not necessarily from the root. And the number of folks really skeptical and doubtful and really trying to prevent kind of a fair discussion about how we can work about solutions policy, it's actually a pretty small number. And a lot of the things being made is that if we talk about how scientists, how professors, weather service, how we communicate, we be able to read these in the middle, especially as science can be cautious and disengaged. Component. They don't care about global warming enough. And so they don't necessarily feel the need to make a decision with a little bit more information. So, bottom line, this is kind of my standard, this is probably not all that much news to folks in this room, but the climate is warming, the change projects accelerate in the next century, and we see wasted in fossil fuel emissions. Vulnerable aspects of society, the hard part I think about climate impacts is who gets impacted by climate change and what is not necessarily the same as who's contributing most to climate change. Often be very far away and very foreign from the perspective of somebody who lives here in Alaska. Vulnerable aspects are risk these changes without appropriate mitigation and adaptation. The second half of that is that there are ways to address a lot of those challenges. And finally, that I'll show on the last slide, I think Peter warned in the afternoon, the public increasingly supports action climate change. It's interesting. How legit information on how to do so. I've been every quarter this go down to Hancock, across the La Crosse, and in Sheboygan, and in all those places, there is a lot of concern about changing weather climate patterns in this state. Things are happening with farming, with gardening, forestry, flooding, the shortage of interesting things that folks are concerned. I'd like to hear more about that. Get to one person. Changes reach here. I can only do so much. So let's play a quiz. This is a classroom. I know there may be some trauma about getting in the classroom, but it's okay. It's a safe place, inclusive. We like to be here. Here's a quote. Continue to raise CO2 to the atmosphere, bringing fossil fuel actives and the point of human beings and market changes in climate not controllable through local national effort. Then it's such a thing as a this is actually a federal government. What's that? In the 80s. Okay, so the 60s, yeah, feel like early in the 60s. Oh, now you're just playing. All right, just the president's science advisory, President Lyndon Johnson in 1966. Large coordinated federal work on climate science. And yeah, the language is when I saw this thing, right? But no. Climate science is well studied. It's been since science has gone back at least 40, 50 years. A lot came from large scale research in the 1950s, National Geophysical Year, which read this idea of the ocean would take all this to, and it started the CO2 measurements in the atmosphere at Mauna Loa. And the thing about, right? There's more things in the 70s with the World Geological Organization, went ExxonMobil in the late with their reports. And to the 80s, we started getting the formation of the framework in climate change. This is not new science. It's not just very rocket science. Rocket science is not there about 10 years disappear to have to live in building. Here's too. This is a newspaper from Australia, Andrew Refkin, the New York Times. I found this, I think, in a New Zealand paper. Coal consumption declined. First is the world numbering 2 million tons of coal and burned and 1 billion tons of dioxide. This is to make an effective blanket for the earth raise temperature to meet beyond that. 1912. I was reporting on science research done there. Some of the early work on climate science goes back into the work of Joseph Foy, father of heat transfer, 1830s and 40s, the work of Sante Arrhenius, Eunice Foot, and others did in the 60s and 80s. It's, you know, this is actually not bad work, even though it's really short side reporting. It's a pretty good job with the green method. Do a lot of talk and weather. There's some great analogies to use. This is often directly attributed to marketing. What you expect. That's kind of your personality. What your mood is. The president, university section, and understand weather. And climate changes naturally over time, right? And generally over centuries. Connection today. So, climatology office with this work done by here, science. Put it together. This is just a daily time from 2018 and through 29. The average time right? Right? We went cold to hot, cold to hot. It was kind of like pneumonia. We had relatively really warm days in summer. We had an interesting, cool right now that we're in. Right, a lot of this is like get any one station, any one day. This is like weather. It's like their backyard weather station or the local or that. Things like this. It's hard to pull that. For example, the excursion here exceeding the versions, and naturally we set highs for every level, right? And that's it's very you just look at things. So we start putting together all the other stations in South Central Midwest. Tim talked you see what? Hey, there are colder years. There's maybe trend, maybe not. Right? Global change really in this picture. Johnson. Is in the thing is that getting colder backyard and bringing stuff cooling in the time and it's cool. That's nothing nice. It's the one that's going to be reflected there. Right. And then from it doesn't mean climate you still have days. It means you have them less often. It means climate didn't mean you had hot summer in the 70s, where there was all those great stories and back out and heat days. A lot more often. Right? And so the mean shifted and shifted. If distribution shifted down at the same